Hello, good morning, welcome to Evening Morning Guitars. It is the morning because, again, I can make noise more freely in the morning, so it's perhaps a bit easier to do these then. It's still quite early, and today we have Han Solo's face on the mug instead of his torso, and it looks like coffee is in there. Feels like coffee is in there as well. So today we're going to be looking at the Amptweaker Tight Metal. In my opinion, it's the best distortion pedal I've ever played. Things you might be interested to know about it include the fact that it's designed by the same chap as the 5150, which it sort of almost oversells it to begin with, because you're like, oh wow, really? Okay, seriously. And you know, it doesn't sound like a 5150 in a box, but it's not far off. Like, you can get a lot of tones and different things out of it. It's a very versatile pedal, but really the most interesting thing is the tight. You know, in the name, tight metal. The tight control is what completely sets it apart. I'm playing a Parker P36, which is a cheap Parker. I think originally made for the Eastern market. I first saw one when I was backpacking in China about 8 years ago, and I've been looking out for one for a long time. Picked one up cheap in the end. It's sort of like a Southern Fly, a Parker Southern Fly, that kind of similar vibe, sort of telly style, really hot single coil here, which is what I'm using, and yeah, piezos. So you've got your acoustic guitar tone, and then, you know, regular kind of really kind of honky sort of telly sound on that one. I always just use the two blend together. I think it gives you more attack, and once you get used to that, you don't really want to play anything else. Actually, all your other guitars are like, oh man, why can't I get that? And it really like fucking attack, like really sharp, aggressive attack. It's because you don't have piezo pickups. So anyway, we're first dialed in. Volume is low because it's the morning. Tone is about 1 o'clock because, as we'll see, I find that it's a bit muddier if you pull it back. Gain, you can't really get too high, you can't get beyond 3 o'clock, but that's where we've got it. And tightness, again, we've got that kind of about 3 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock, which again is my personal preference. You're kind of going for this sort of kind of sounds where it's a bit tighter, it's a bit more mid-rangey, maybe a bit more mashuggery in the mid-range, which is, yeah, again, another benefit of this pedal. You can get that kind of sound in a box, which is neat. But yeah, so I mean, and what can you do with it? You can do pretty much anything, like big Deftones style chords. You know, even something that's pretty innocuous, like something more kind of shoegazery chords. Sort of. You know, it handles it all very well, and it keeps a lot of clarity in the notes, and that's the thing I really like about it. And that's kind of how it's set up. You know, if you have it, it doesn't sound that bassy through this amp, but you know, if you've got 2x12 stack, trust me, it's more than bassy enough. It will really fill out the sound. But you know, I appreciate I'm not the only one that, you know, not everyone sees it this way. So we'll go through some other settings, and let's push the tone, let's back the tone round, let's make it a bit muddier. And so first of all, this is it in the original position, it's about 1 o'clock. Yeah, right, okay, back it off a bit, and it's going to get flobbier. Can you hear that? Yeah, so I mean, that's also partially the guitar, so it will respond to different guitars in different ways, obviously. So the gain, we can back that off, but to be honest, it's this is why I think they made the tight rock pedal to go in the middle, because the low gain stuff on here is not great. I mean, in my opinion anyway. You kind of, it seems very, like even through a bigger amp, it is a bit anemic. Yeah, to me it's a bit anemic, but you know, you might hear that sound and go, wow, that's the sound I've been looking for. Hey Marvin, hey Chuck, you get what I'm going for there. It's early. So we're going to assume that you want to keep the gain up, and then the tightness is really the interesting thing. So we've got it here. Let's give you a riff, some porcupine tree. Okay, right, get the idea. Okay, we're going to move the tightness around to about 12 o'clock. Hear my wrist, yeah, just about hear my wristwatch. And you hear it's a lot more flobby. I'm not sure that's actually a word. But the flip side is you do have a lot more distortion on the bass, which, you know, if that's the sound you're going for as well, then it's the only way you're going to get it is by backing off the tightness. If we back it off again, it's going to be, you know, drastically bigger sounding. That's up to you whether you like it or not. To me, it sounds dangerously close to a Line 6 amp, you know, one of those early ones with the insane setting, like some kind of really trashy early 2000s digital modelling. Bit fizzy, really. But, you know, different strokes, different, you know, the end of that expression. The final thing is there's the mid-range switch that flicks it to, I'm not going to turn off the noise gate because it will cause chaos, and you need a noise gate on this pedal, frankly. I'm not a thrasher, but there is also a thrash setting which kind of boosts the mids right up, and it's this sort of sound. Which, you know, that might be, you might have just heard that and gone, well, yeah, it's a terrible guitar player, obviously, but that's the sound I've been looking for. In which case, you know, all power to you. It's a fantastic pedal. Go and get it. But you know, I like a kind of more full sound, and you've got to have a decent amount of mid-range in there. I think it was Ben Wyman maybe of Dillinger Escape Plan said something like the guitar is, as an instrument, is all about how you use the mid-range. I think that's a fair statement, but you know, I kind of prefer to have like a slightly boosted mid and maybe not quite that much mid. So finally, let's revert it back to how I have it set up and give you a final blast. Right, enough of that sloppy guitar mess. This has been Evening Morning Guitars. If you enjoy my stupid gear demos, do subscribe for more. If you want to know more specific questions about the Amptweaker, put them in the comments. If there's something you want to see and I can indulge you, then amazing, also ask for that. If you want to hear it with humbuckers, it doesn't sound hugely different, but I can also do that. But anyway, let me know. Apart from that, this has been Evening Morning Guitars. It is still the morning and I better get to work. Peace.